it's me again, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our mutual enemy, our mutual depression. As you know, I am a physician who's also dealt extensively with mental health, mental illness in my own life. I've been hospitalized for over 30 days. I've had multiple different medications, various different therapy styles, I think over 13 different therapists, and it's very difficult for me to stay alive. Part of this is due to a lot of the trauma that I've seen, and then I've also treated mental health patients to a lot of good effect. It's a lot easier to take care of other people. So a lot of times, and I've used medications, and I've helped people get the right therapy, and I've worked with various therapists to ensure that people get what they need. So I am here to talk to you again. How you doing? I hope that you're not mad at me after last time. I know something that I say is bound to make someone angry, but I want to be honest, right? I want to be honest with you. I want to be honest about the depression. I want to be honest about all these things, so I hope that's okay. You are so valuable, so it's always an honor to talk to you, because you're the only you, and you're the only you that even if we haven't met in person, you are the only you, and it's cool. It's nice to chat with you through here. So I am, as always, nothing that we talk about as we talk about depression together, and kind of distract ourselves from it a little bit while working through some stuff. Nothing is official medical advice, because you and I have not met in meat space, and so everything that we talk about is exactly medical self-care only. You know the drill by now. So today I wanted to go through the next part of the DBT handout, DBT being dialectical behavioral therapy, which is originally created for borderline personality disorder, but helps everybody manage very strong emotions, especially if you have problems with self-harm. Yeah, exactly. And so I'd like to go through the next part. Last time we talked about a really difficult concept, which is radical acceptance, and we also talked about it within the context of various kind of metaphysical systems, which can make it tough. It can make it tough if your worldview is affected by all the bad stuff that's happened to you, right? I think the worst thing when somebody does something terrible to you, or when your own brain has betrayed you with its neurotransmitters, the worst thing that can happen is if in that sadness it also takes away your ability to know the divine. The worst thing someone can do to you is, after they have done what they did to you, then also take away from you your spirit and your ability to commune with the thing that loves you most. That is the most horrible thing that can happen. So we talked through some of that pain last time, and it was rough. I didn't like it very much. It was not fun. But these things are necessary. No pain, no gain. I don't know if I always think that that's true, but certainly there are prices that we pay in order to be healthy, right? I know, it's silly, isn't it? It's because I haven't been doing my PT the right way, so I'm getting beefy. Like an American beef cow, not like a healthy grass-fed Paraguayan beef cow. Alright, so I'm going to keep it a little shorter and lighter this time. You are so valuable, so let's talk about distracting yourself from self-destructive behaviors, like cutting, burning, scratching, anything like that. No one can deny the amount of pain you're in when you engage in those behaviors, and sometimes those behaviors might temporarily relieve some of the pain, but they can also cause serious permanent damage and even death. So we want to find other ways that we can work through it. So on page 12 of the little handout that's in the description below, rush of natural painkillers called endorphins that are released when you hurt yourself. And so we have to find some ways to overcome them. And so a big thing is to distract yourself, right? And some of you, even just when you're in emotional pain and don't want to engage in a self-destructive behavior, because I know that, yeah. So did you use the handout 2 videos ago where we went through like thinking through self-destructive behaviors and kind of committing to whether or not they're helping you? Yeah. Well, and even if you don't have self-destructive behaviors, even somebody who doesn't, but when they're in a lot of emotional pain, it can be hard to make the decisions properly. It can be hard to think right, and that can lead to thoughts of things like suicide and stuff like that. So sometimes people will help distract themselves, even with things like ASMR, right? Distracting yourself, the goal isn't to ignore the problem. It's to calm your emotions enough so that you can deal with it logically and in an appropriate manner without your emotions really or certain neurotransmitters making you more sick. So I would like you to go through page 13. And go through check the boxes that can help you get through your self-destructive behaviors. You will notice that I have X'd one out. I am a member of the International Society of Sexual Medicine and have done a little bit of study on addictive behavior for within the realm of internet or visual addiction to certain kinds of stimuli, specifically sexual stimuli. And based on that updated information that I have as a sexual health provider, because I have done I have done a ton of sexual health care, from specialized LGBT groups, or specialized LGBT people, to obviously I'm a sexual assault medical forensic examiner, to helping elderly women with their, I had a good segment of training helping elderly women with sexual issues, versus also helping married couples. I have a lot of experience in that, and I felt that based on my understanding as a sexual health provider, the suggestion that they gave you that I have blacked out is actually kind of unhealthy and can lead to some self-destructive behaviors. So I blacked it out. Yes, you are suffering censorship. If you don't want the censorship, you can go buy the book, which is not censored. But I don't want to be suggesting you things that I know from my own personal experience and from my experience in sexual health care is not good for you. So, but the other options, I think you should go through and try to check. Like, instead of hurting yourself, hold an ice cube in your hand and squeeze it. The sensation from the cold ice is numbing and very distracting. I would be careful with that. Obviously, don't use an ice cube. Don't use, like, I don't know, liquid nitrogen or dry ice, or something that's not going to melt and then you're going to get a burn from the cold. Don't do this outside in the cold. My wilderness medicine brain and frostbite is kicking in, and I've also treated hypothermia before, and it's not a joke. But in the most, you're going to be fine. Holding an ice cube, you're going to be fine. Most ice cubes are not going to cause you a problem because they will melt. But it can be very distracting, and it can be a way to get that feeling when you're depressed. Write on yourself with a red felt tip marker instead of cutting. Do it exactly where you would cut. Use red paint or nail polish to make it look like you're bleeding, then draw stitches with a black marker. You can squeeze an ice cube in the other hand at the same time. This helps people sometimes, because it's very distracting and you're kind of going down the line, and it's that focus. That focus kind of helps. So there's a bunch of options. Some of them are, for very very strong emotions and not wonderful, right? Like dig your fingernails into the arm without breaking the skin. I would just be careful with these, but it's better than cutting, right? So it's an option. Draw faces of people you hate on balloons and then pop them. Write letters to people you hate or people who have hurt you. Tell them what they did to you and tell them why you hate them. Then throw the letters away or save them to read later or set them on fire. It can be very cathartic to burn those. Throw foam balls, rolled up socks, or pillows against the wall as hard as you can. Do a ton of push-ups. I think that's a good option. Cry. I really think, I've done this before. I've used push-ups to save my life one time. I had one night where I just really, like, the need to die was very, very strong. And instead of needing to die, I just did push-ups until I was too tired, and then I fell asleep. And I felt a little better the next morning. It does work. So I would say physical fitness is actually the best thing you can do, and it's not really on this list, but really going for a really hard run or doing intense push-ups is going to release those same endorphins that you get from cutting, far more than drawing faces or digging fingernails into your arm. And that's the benefit of being a physician instead of a psychologist, is while I can't do therapy for you like a psychologist can, there are the suggestions and things that I can find for you based on the overall picture of health that I have studied as a physician, right? So, for example, I happen to know biochemically that you can release the same endorphins that you get by cutting by doing really intense exercise, right? Which is better for you anyway. So I highly recommend you do that instead. Okay. So please take this list and start going through it. For today, I really want to focus on distraction techniques, and so I want you to come up with a hobby, a thing that you can do that is pleasurable, creative, and gets the stuff in your brain out. And that's the stuff with on page 15 and I deleted another thing there for the same reason. 15 and 16. My past self is very funny, but it is what it is. Look, if you want the full book, you need to go buy it. They're not an affiliate with me. I didn't buy the book. I was given it by my therapist when I was in the hospital in 2018. So it is what it is. And you're authorized to reproduce 10% of something for educational purposes, and so that is what I've done. I've released 10% of something for you for educational purposes. It's good if you get the whole book, you can work through it. But pages 15 and 16, the big list of possible pleasurable activities you can use to distract yourself when you're feeling those really intense down emotions. And I want you to pick a couple, and then when you're unhappy, I want you to checklist them, and then when you're suffering, I want you to pick up that checklist, and I want you to grab a thing, and I want you to do it. Yep. And I know you might use ASMR, or you might make something like pottery. I actually want to show you the life of a pot. Is that something that you would enjoy? I think it would be fun. Obviously, these are my husband's pots. My husband's mugs and cups and soup bowls and things like that he's made. And if you know me, despite my illnesses, I've been trying to save up for the past 10 years to go to Paraguay to establish an ambulatory clinic for the needy. And as I'm trying to do that, and there's contingency plans, so even if I die, something good will happen, it's gonna happen. We have stuff set up. But as we're saving up for that, we're finding we don't have. It's difficult because we don't. We were anticipating I would be able to work in different capacity and be able to make a lot of money in the States, and then be able to use that to help the people in Paraguay, and that's not been the case because of my health care. So sorry to ramble about myself, but go and help people. So, and even right now, while we're saving up, we're actually working together with like 10 or 15 different charities against human trafficking and world hunger and a bunch of other things like that. You can always check that charity list out at my website, becominghero.ninja. When you click on the superhero alerts, there's a bunch of stuff about charities and things that we support every single month. And so, and then we're also, I manage the money. No, that's not true. We manage our money together. We have one account and we manage everything together. But I'm kind of in the family, I'm the person who figures out how we do our charitable stuff, and how we're planning for this clinic. And he honestly makes these really as a form of peace for himself. I have seen such a good change in some of his feelings and anxiety and his confidence by making these beautiful things that he makes. And they really are lovely. Like, he hates this one. He thinks this isn't very good. I think it's quite pretty. It's a white clay versus these beautiful things, which are a darker clay. It's got a label on it so that he knows which glazes he used to make it. So, yeah, and you can see all of these. They're up on his Etsy store. If you wanted to get one because you enjoy beautiful things, you're welcome to do so. And if you wanted to get one because you want to help people and helping people makes you feel better, you're certainly welcome to do so. Obviously, it would mean a lot to me, but I wanted to, at no cost, just because, as part of this distraction, like, I thought that since we're talking about distraction today, it would be cool, and since you're going to come up with, something that you can do regularly to kind of get your feelings out, those feelings, a hobby, basically something you can make, because I think it's a good distraction to consume. You can consume content, but producing content is a very powerful way for you to get your distraction out, and producing something that you make with your hands can help with some of those feelings that you get, some of that concentration that sometimes people get a little bit addicted to with things like cutting. Making something is a productive way to get the feelings out. I knew a girl who had been raped several times, and she dealt with that by making really, like, strange and scary art. But, like, hey, good for her. I didn't, like, she had made this diorama of Barbies doing not great stuff. And then she did these really odd, interesting paintings where the eyes were all different, and she did a lot of stuff with, like, dead stuff. She was so skilled and interesting. I thought she was really cool. I really liked her. And that's how she dealt with it. She made strange things, and good for her. I think that art is important, and I don't always agree with the content of everybody's art, but I would rather that you are making something I hate than dying. If you're, like, making art that, like, where you're saying that all of you should die, I hate all of you, or, like, you're being super mean and racist, I would rather you didn't do that. Or if you do that, just keep it to yourself. Please don't share it with other people. All these caveats, right? This is the problem with the evidence-based mind, is I'm always checking what I say to see, like, wait, is that true? What about this example or this possibility? The bottom line is, if our goal is your mental health, I think making something is good. I want to caveat that again, because there are people who have spent a long time making, evil pictures and diaries, and then gone off and decided to shoot up a church. I'm thinking of a very specific example that you might know, where they spent a long time making stuff, but that wasn't good. So, make something positive that's going to make the world happy and better, or make something angry and to get your feelings out, and then burn it. Or don't burn it. You use your common sense. Just make something, okay? just make something. It can be something, and you can try many different things. Maybe knitting is going to be your catharsis. Maybe pottery is going to be your catharsis. Maybe, sign up for a class in computer programming. Maybe that's going to be your catharsis. But make something. I assume that none of you who are watching are psychopaths. I assume this. I assume that by saying make something, I'm not encouraging. I would rather, I'm not causing bad things to come into the world. Look, I want you to cope. I do. I want you to cope. I believe in you. And I'm excited about distracting you. So please write down these distractions. I mean, there's so many, and I think what I want to do is I want to start doing them together. I think that over the next several months, you and I can go through the big list of pleasurable activities, and we can start talking about depression and doing the distraction stuff each time. What do you think? I think that'd be fun. I think for today, let's have our distraction be pottery. Okay, I'm going to show you the life of a pot from beginning to end, and you're going to just relax and go to sleep. And then the next time we're going to talk about the next depression coping skill, and we'll find another pleasurable activity together. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope that you sleep very well. I think this session is a lot easier than last time. Yeah. Let's go check out some pottery.